I'm here to talk to you about domestic abuse and to share with you a part of my story. I'm doing this hoping that it will help someone else get out before it's too late. Before I met my ex, I didn't believe in monsters. I had some unpleasant experiences in my life, but never had I truly experienced a psychopath. The day that I met him, I had a pit in my stomach. The moment I saw him, I wanted to run the other way. He was so charming and reassuring that I went against my gut instinct to bolt, get out of there, and never look back. Please don't ever do that. If you want to run, there's a reason. I already experienced multiple red flags in the incident before I met him in person. I met him on the internet. He was extremely possessive before we even met. He lied and lied and lied to me. He told me he had a car. He didn't. He told me he had a job. He didn't. He told me he was Catholic. He was a Satanist. He told me his ex-wife unfairly turned him out and would often refer to her as my ex-bitch instead of by her name. I would later come to find out, at the end of this long and twisted road into the depths of horror and despair, that his ex-wife is, to this day, deathly frightened of him, and that she has a standing no-contact order 8 years later. In between our multiple separations, he got me pregnant on purpose to anchor himself deeper into my life. I kicked him out of my home on numerous occasions before and after I became pregnant. All of this was peppered with violent threats towards myself and the people that I loved. Before it was all over, he had made countless threats towards me and my family, my friends, and multiple attempts on my life. His family held me in my home after our son's birth, and my parents had to burst into the home that they owned just to see me, breaking the chain on the door. All because I said that I didn't want to live with him. If I had known what I know now, I would have reported every incident, even when the police refused to take him away, straw in hand, and anxiety pills that he'd taken from me and the other. There was a situation at that time that he actually was snorting a line of the anti-anxiety pills that he had taken from me in front of the police officer, telling him that it was a more efficient delivery of the drug. I told the police that I was scared, and I told them that I wanted him to leave, that he had put his hands around my neck and thrown me across the room, and they told me that if I wouldn't tell them in front of him what he had done, that they wouldn't take him away. I would have logged everything on my own as it happened. I would have disappeared. I was the type of person who could not understand the headspace of a woman who was abused before he walked into my life and attempted to destroy it. I didn't understand what was so hard about leaving. I got a lesson in how and why over the course of 2 years that will never leave me. A lesson that I hope will help someone else before it's too late. The abuse that I experienced at the hands of this man and his family have changed my life. I have a permanent injury to my arm. I have nightmares and I wake up screaming, seeing him stand over me. I have domestic violence related PTSD. I survived them, him and his family. I survived the multiple attempts that they made on my life. I didn't think that these things could happen to me. I didn't want to believe that I could not bring out the good in someone else. I wanted to believe that if I could just be perfect, then he would stop being an abuser. Nothing that you can do will ever stop the abuse. It's about control. And if he believes that he's losing control, you are in danger. It may all seem very surreal while it's happening, and you may feel that you have control over it, that you know how to stop him from losing it. The worst thing that you can ever do is tell him that you're leaving. Just leave. Change your phone number and find a safe place to live where he won't ever find you if you don't have any children. No contact is the only way. If you have children, no matter how much he threatens to kill you or your family, file a parenting plan through the court system. If you don't, he will take your child. He will use your child to control you for as long as he can. He may demand sexual favors for access to your child, prescription drugs, all things that you will be ashamed of doing. Some of them making you criminal, and he will use this as a threat against you later. That's all that I can do right now. I'll go into my story a little bit more at a later time, but I just want to get out there that there is help for people who are being abused, and that nobody deserves to be abused, and nobody deserves to lose their child to their abuser. And there are things that you can do to protect yourself. There are 1-800 numbers, and there are shelters that will help you. And I know that it's scary, but at first, the idea of living in one of those places or asking for help can be scarier than the devil that you know. But your reality, the reality of the life that you will be living if you don't get help, is the scariest thing that you can ever imagine. Living in terror for years versus getting help and just taking the hard times that comes with getting help right at the beginning is worth it. Please don't make the same mistakes that I did and continue to be abused for years. Thank you. Another good place to talk to is the National Domestic Violence Hotline. The number is 1-800-799-7233. That's 1-800-799-7233. Or you can go to www.thehotline.org. If you're considering getting help in Florida or in the Bradenton area, you can call the 24-hour helpline for Hope Family Services. The number is 941-755-6805, and their website is www.hopefamilyservices.org.